Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this month's Simplex-IT project management webinar. This month, we're going to talk about managing multiple projects with Project Online. If you've attended any of our previous project management webinars, you'll know that we talked about topics like resource management, project reporting, risks and issues we talked about last month. So we're here today to talk about managing multiple projects with Project Online. This is what we like to call our NASCAR slide. This shows you all of the great partnerships that we have across all of these companies. And this slide, we like to ask if we can be your IT department. So if you can answer yes to any one of these questions, we'd love to work with you, either as your IT department or helping to support your IT department. Here you'll notice that we have some new services from Simplex-IT. Of course, Simplex-IT is a company that you're probably familiar with. It's your virtual CIO handling all of your IT needs. And then we also have Simplex DBA. Simplex DBA ensures that the health and wellness and usefulness of your corporate data is the best that it can be. And Simplex PM is focusing on helping project managers at small to mid-sized companies. A lot of times these folks don't even know that they're project managers, but they're managing projects. So we're focused on helping them through mentoring, training, and of course the support of the different Microsoft tools. We have got a lot of webinars and luncheonars coming up, and some fun stuff too. So in August, we'll talk about a couple webinars. We'll talk about Office 365 just as an overview. We've got our Simplex IT summer picnic. So if you're local to the Northeast Ohio area and you want to join us for some great food and games, please stop by at our offices in Hudson. On August 20th, we'll talk about effective project communications. There's a few other PM topics here. In September, we'll talk about PM lingo, so taking a step back and defining what all those words mean. And then we'll talk about tips for a successful project in October. So here I kind of wanted to focus on the very basics. So you're handed a new project. What do you do? So that's going to be my focus for the tips for a successful project topic on October 8th. Here's a picture of our summer picnic last year. Like I mentioned earlier, please feel free to stop by and join us. There's the Eventbrite link for you. We're located on Darrow Road in Hudson. If you're familiar with the Malted Meeple, if you've gone there to play any games or had any milkshakes or beer, we're located about a quarter of a mile north from them on the opposite side of the road. We also wanted to announce that we have a new website design coming shortly. It'll look very similar to what you see here. So if you're familiar with our fire-themed website, you'll see that that'll be replaced with this one here very shortly. So without further ado, let's talk about managing multiple projects. So if you're familiar with Microsoft Project, you know that it's great for managing one project. You'll know that you've got to create multiple project files for every project that you're managing. But what happens when you want to see all of those projects in one place, when you want that sort of overall view of how all of your projects are going? That's where Project Online can help. So with Project Online, you can view the status of all of your projects. You can view the status of all of your resources. So you can analyze their allocation and availability across all projects. You can track risks and issues all in one place. And then I especially like how you can accept and reject updates for all of your projects. So if you've got your project resources submitting task statuses to you, you can accept and reject those in one place without having to go in and out of all of your project files. We start out by creating a project in Microsoft Project or in Project Online. It really doesn't matter. You can start by creating the project schedule in either tool. But once you've done that, and once it's saved to Project Online, you'll see that your project list will start to accumulate like you see here. So you'll have your list of all of your projects. And just at a very high glance, you can see when they're starting and finishing, their percentage complete, and so on. In addition to the project status, I'm sorry, in addition to the project status, you also have your status updates. So status updates are for individual tasks that are assigned to resources. So once your resources submit their task status update to you, you can accept and reject them all in one place. So here you'll see in the screenshot that I've got several different projects listed because I have several different tasks submitted for each project. So very nice. I don't have to keep going back and forth into multiple project files to accept and reject and push those updates out. We talked last month about risk management. So using Project Online, you can manage your risks. Here you can see that I've got risks and issues in a couple different projects. If this were a real life demonstration, which I'll get to in a few minutes, but this is just a slide. But if this were, if I were looking at this in real life, I would actually see that the numbers under active are hyperlinks, and I could actually go and view those risks or issues. I'll show you that in a few minutes. You can also view resource availability and utilization across all your projects. And you'll notice here that I have my resource name listed up at the top in yellow, which is Bob, and I've consolidated all of his projects. So I'm just looking at it in the summary level. But then you'll notice my resource name, Patti, and I've expanded all of my projects so that I can see the detailed assignments within that project. So it's nice because you can view the details, but then also if you just want a high-level view, you can collapse those details and just view the summary. You also have this great resource availability graph. It's got a couple different options, so you can choose to view this graph by assignment work by resource or by project. You can view the remaining availability or the work. So here you'll notice that I'm looking at the remaining availability. I see that Bob has some availability. He's in blue there across the months here. Specifically, he's more available, it looks like the beginning of November or end of October. And then you'll notice that in green shows that there is no availability. So these resources may be over allocated even. So let's take a look. I'm going to switch over to Internet Explorer. And I've opened up the Project Center view. So this is typically your default view. This is what you start with when you log into Project Web App. And here I can see a list of all of my projects, just like you saw on the PowerPoint slide. Here, I can see when these projects are supposed to start and finish, if they're complete and their percentage of completion, how much work is in the project, the duration of the project, and the owner. And I can also view over on the right-hand side the project Gantt bar. So I can see when the project is going to start and stop more visually than in the rows of data over on the left. And then the gray bars within the middle represent the percentage complete. So at a very high glance, you should be able to see when your projects are starting and stopping and the percent complete. It makes it really nice for trying to plan future projects. You can see when you may have an opening or some availability in your bandwidth. The other thing that I mentioned that I like are the approvals. So here, when we talk about task status approval, this is assuming that your resources are sending you status updates for their tasks. So your resources are saying that this task is 100% complete or 50% complete, whatever the case may be. They're working on the task and they're sending you updates. This is really nice when you're managing multiple projects, because here you don't have to go in and out of multiple projects. You don't have to open up multiple projects. You can accept and reject all of the changes right here on this screen. So here I can just expand some of the projects and I can view the updates that I have. And then from here I can choose which ones I want to accept or reject. I'm going to say that I want to accept these and maybe these. So I'm going to select the ones that I want to accept and I'll click accept. And you'll notice that you get a reminder that it's working on it. I can confirm the approval by just clicking OK. And then these changes are made to that specific project, or in my case, those two specific projects. And you'll notice that those tasks are no longer listed here for acceptance or rejection. I mentioned before how we have issues and risks. So here, if I click on issues and risks, I can see my issues and risks across all of my projects. And you'll notice here that I can click on the specific risk, I'm sorry, on the specific project name to get to the risks. Again, if I wanted to view them in more detail, I would do this so that I could see the individual risks. But for the purposes of our webinar today, we're more interested in just an overall view across multiple projects. So I may not need this amount of detail when I'm just looking at the risks of all of my projects. This page might suffice. I can see how many risks I have open, how many have been postponed, and how many are closed. I can also view my project resources. So here in my resource center, I can view all of the resources within my project. And then I also have a couple different navigation options. So resource assignments will show me the assignments that I have across all of my resources. So I can see basically who's doing what. I'll give this a minute to load. So here I can see the specific tasks that Bob's working on for each project he has assignments in. And I can quickly collapse all of these projects so that I could see a more summary level view. Or if I wanted to drill down on one specific project, I could expand that project and see all the tasks that he has assigned to him. And then if you wanted to see the dates, of course, they're listed in our columns, but also in the Gantt bars over on the right-hand side. Now, in addition to the resource usage, we also have the resource availability option. So here, what we're looking at now shows us what our resources are doing, what they're assigned, who's doing what, like I mentioned. The resource availability option allows us to see who has time available to work on additional tasks. And this one has a couple different views, if you will, or a couple different options. Here, under the view option, I can view by resource or by project. I can view their availability or their work. So here I've chosen to, let's choose remaining availability, because let's say that I have a project coming on board. It's going to start, say it's going to start in the fall, maybe around September or October, and I need some resources to work on that. So I would choose my remaining availability view so I could see when I have a resource that might be available to work on it. And I can see here that it looks like Bob is available in October and possibly in the end of November. I can change this view if I wanted to see the assignment work by project. Here I can see the assignments across all of my projects. And you'll notice that they're color-coded by project. That's why we have such a colorful chart. You'll see the legend over on the right-hand side of all of the projects that they have tasks assigned from. The other thing I just wanted to mention in regards to managing multiple projects is that almost all of these views that you're seeing as we're going through this demonstration, they're almost all customizable. So if you're looking at this and you think, oh, you know what, this would be really nice if they were, grouped by department or grouped by finish date, or I want to sort them by project manager. Those are all just additional views that we can create, and they're very easy to do. A lot of folks will want them customized per login. So, all right, if I'm a project manager, I want all my projects. I just want to see all my projects. I don't care about anybody else's. We can do that as well. So as you're looking through these and working with multiple projects, just keep in mind that these are all really very customizable. And you can get a lot more information if you build and customize these views as you need. So that's working with multiple projects. The big things with multiple projects is this view. This is nothing that you will get out of Microsoft Project. And I think that this is a huge benefit to using Project Online because everybody can see all the active projects within your organization, and then of course all the details that we talked about when they're starting, finishing, and some additional details. You've got the task status approvals. That's where you can approve and reject status across multiple projects. We've got the issues and risks where you can manage risks and issues across all of your projects in one place. And then of course reports and customized views that will show your information however you need. Within reason. There's some things we can't do, but for the most part, anytime you see a field, like let's say task name or finish date, those are any one of those fields we can sort or group on or create new reports, or I'm sorry, new views on. All right, that was a demonstration that I wanted to show you on managing multiple projects using Project Online. I did want to make an offer. Simplex-IT is offering a free project management makeover workshop. Basically, it's just getting together with you and talking through kind of what you're doing now, where you want to be, where you are, where you want to be in the future. It's a free conversation. If you're interested in anything like that, please give me a call or shoot me an email at the email listed here as well, Patti at simplex-it.com. I would love to chat with you about some support we can give you around project management, whether it's with your people, helping ensure that they have the right skills, or your tools, helping to ensure that Microsoft Project and Project Online are being used effectively. And then also managing your progress. So showing you how you can manage and monitor the progress of all of your projects using a lot of what we saw here in this webinar. Okay. Again, thank you for attending. Our next webinar will be August 20th, and we'll talk about effective project communication. So we'll talk about some reports that you can use. And then also, I think I'm going to touch a little bit on communication plans. And what those are, what needs to be included in a communication plan for the larger projects. We'll just touch on those. Pretty much it's going to be just effective project communications for small to mid-sized projects that may not need a full plan, but still would benefit from using a couple reports here and there. So we'll talk about those. Again, thank you for attending, and I hope to see you next month. Thanks again.